Hello everybody and welcome back to Sunshine Islands. It is our last day in year 4. Thank goodness we can get into year 5 and we can hopefully complete this game by the end of the year and we don't have to go into year 6. The game has gone on long enough at this point. So I wanted to do just one last video in the wintertime before moving on to spring. Yesterday was a blizzard. I don't know why which princess, if she has the ability to create a blizzard, would make one on her birthday. I was stuck at home with her all day, so I could give her a nice birthday present, but I wasn't able to have a birthday celebration with her. So anyways, I was able to skip ahead quickly to the end of the season here. And I'm not even going to really bother going to the New Year's Eve festival. I'm only going to get some buckwheat flour out of it, and at this point I can just go buy that from Chen. It's not like the game is doing me a favor by giving that to me, so we're just going to stick around the farm until we're ready for bed. If we go into our assets list, you can see that I did really well in the wintertime. And it's actually kind of surprising to me how well I did in terms of the amount of money that I made, because I didn't ship any crops. The only crops that I had growing are in the greenhouse, which have taken the entirety of the winter season. So I shipped no crops, no fruits, and I also couldn't be bothered to go mining either. So that is an impressive amount of money for how little I actually did in the winter season. And I also didn't spend a lot of money either. That is almost entirely profit. And you can see the numbers kind of vary, but we have some good numbers almost every single day of the month. I managed to ship at least a couple of things every day of the month. My only real expenses, I believe the money I spent on the 7th was from Chen's shop. I was probably buying some food because I did a lot of cooking. And then I spent $10,000 twice throughout the season to buy myself 2 orange Wonderfuls from Chen's shop. So yeah, it was a pretty laid back, easygoing, routine type of a month. And I'm now up to almost $1.5 million, which what am I going to use it for? I don't know. There are still some things I could probably use some money for, but for the most part, I'm just hoarding at this point, I guess. So, yep, I'm in a pretty comfortable position. Things are going pretty well for me. And I just have a few small updates. Nothing too crazy to talk about here. The blizzard was actually very minimal in terms of damage. You can see I have to fix my animal enclosure. A few big boulders landed in the middle here and on the sides, but that's pretty easy to fix. I've put my birds back outside because it'll be sunny tomorrow and hopefully we'll have nice weather throughout spring. You can see that I now have 3 regular chickens and a silky hen. I did lose 1 chicken as well, which I didn't show off, or I didn't show on screen. The reason for that is because I did show our first animal's death on screen, and it was basically the exact same thing. We just lost another one of our chickens to old age. And what I decided to do was to hatch another silky hen. So we have a baby silky hen here in the coop. And I named this Chicken Hope, which is a character from Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2. Don't know why, it was just the first name that popped up into my brain. Nice, simple, 4 letters. Didn't take a lot of brain power to think up. So, unfortunately, we've lost our 2 oldest and dearest chickens that have won us many, many competitions. They've been giving us some great quality eggs. They had full 10 hearts of affection. They were just too old. It was their time to go. And so we are left with our first silky hen that we ever got that does have a full 10 hearts. So we can use this chicken in order to win in the chicken festival if we decide that we want to enter. And I decided to get another silky hen as opposed to a regular chicken because I have been doing a lot of cooking that require their eggs, and because I only get 1 egg every 3 days, I just don't have a lot of them coming in, so figured why not. We've only had this one throughout the entire game. She's probably getting very, very lonely, so that'll be it for new animals, though. I think once my barn animals start to die, and if I lose any other chickens, for the remainder of the time that I'm going to be playing this game, I don't think I want to replace them. I think I'm going to just let them pass, and then that'll be it. My animals are all very unhappy. They're cranky because they've been stuck indoors all winter. I think that really affects their mood. And also because there was that blizzard yesterday, so they weren't fed, and that stressed them out quite a bit. You can see Sid here is in a bad mood, which means that she's borderline sick, so I have to be very, very careful with her. I should probably bring my brush in here, actually, and kind of just make sure that these guys are all happy and well looked after. But as soon as springtime hits and I'm able to get some grass growing, I'll be putting them back outside, which should improve their mood drastically. Over in the greenhouse, we do have some progress in here as well. So you can see that we now have a full greenhouse full of edamame. And the thing that's neat when you're growing soybeans is that if you want to stop when it reaches the stage where it gives you edamame, these are actually ready. I could take my sickle and chop these right now and get myself some edamame. But my main goal is to get myself some soybeans, obviously. So what I've decided to do is to keep watering the majority of this stuff in order to get soybeans, but I'm gonna load up my sickle with some orange wonderfuls when I have the opportunity, and I'm going to chop this stuff down and get myself a little bit of edamame to work with. You cannot buy edamame from Chen as far as I know. I can't think if you can at this point. I'm pretty sure you can't. So growing it is really the only way to obtain it. It is used in a couple of recipes and it is used in cooking, so that's probably just what I'll use it for. But our main goal, of course, is to get as many soybeans as possible. So these, once they reach this stage, have 10 more days before they reach soybean level, and these matured, I believe, 3 or 4 days ago at this point. So we should have soybeans all ready to go by the first week of spring. And then that will free up my greenhouse and I can start growing something else in here if I want. And that was really it. Just wanted to go over assets, talk a little bit about the animals, and then just highlight what was going on in the greenhouse before carrying on into spring. I've done everything else that I wanted to do today, so I might as well just hop into bed, and when I wake up, it'll be nice and green outside. All right, year 5, the final year. 3 more months to go and we will be done with this game. I asked people in the comments, for those of you who are still watching this, a few videos ago I asked, what is left to see? What would the viewers like for me to show off? And how is it that you would like me to proceed as we get into year 5? And most people were very, very kind. And they just said, listen, we are really enjoying the series still. We will continue to support you and to watch this for as long as it goes on. But we completely understand that you're probably tired and just want this thing to end. So I do still have a few tricks up my sleeve, believe it or not. There are probably a few little things that I can still show off in this game that I have not yet done, to kind of just keep things a little bit spicier. I do have my own personal agenda and personal goals and things that I'm working on just to keep myself motivated. But for the most part, I think, going to do kind of a compressed sort of speed run of the rest of this game. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to compete in festivals, but I may or may not show them off. I might just show off the wonderfuls that I get from each festival. There are a few festivals, like the crop festivals, for example, that may actually pose a challenge to me this year, because in year 5, all of the crops that we need are all crops that have to be unlocked by shipping wheat, soybeans, and buckwheat, I believe. I think soybeans are the very last thing that I have to ship. I do believe I actually have cabbage unlocked at Chen's, but I haven't gone to check. So there may actually be a bit of competition in terms of whether or not I'm able to do the crop festivals this year, which will be a little bit fun. For the most part, the last couple of years, all the festivals, with the exception of the cat festival, have been pretty easy. Hasn't really posed much of a challenge to us. So I will kind of compete in them, but I'll use my discretion as to how much it is that I want to show. And we will probably just be doing a couple of videos per month. Nothing too crazy. So I'm looking forward to spring because things are starting to come back, things are starting to grow. I can let the animals out again, I can do a bit more foraging because it's not just snow on the ground. When my animals start to die this year, I'm not going to replace them. So we'll see what happens with the barn animals, if any of them start to get too old and pass away. My chickens should be fine until the end of the game now, but I'm not going to hatch any more chickens at this point. I'm really, really happy with the fact that I got a full orchard up and running. All the trees are fully grown, and I don't have to worry about these trees at all until summertime, because they do not start to give me fruit until summer, and they're all fully grown. I no longer have to worry about sun points, water points, none of that. They all have golden lumber around them. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So that can be completely out of sight and out of mind for me for a whole month without me having to worry. I'm gonna get the rice paddy up and running immediately. It's kind of a moot point because the rice takes, I think, 50 days to grow. So by the time my rice actually comes in, the game will be pretty much over. But I've run out of rice completely. I've been doing so much cooking, and there are so many dishes that use rice. It makes your head spin. I have completely run out. So it's a bit of a shame that your only option to grow rice is in the rice paddy. You can't grow this stuff in the greenhouse. You are stuck with using the rice paddy, because it would be nice if I was able to get my hands on some rice sooner. But I do have $1.4 million that's just sitting around doing nothing. So I can just go to Chen's and buy rice. Obviously, we're going to keep on with what we're doing here in the greenhouse. Once Chen's is open, which for me won't be until the 3rd day of spring, I'm gonna get Charlie to switch some of my orange wonderfuls into my sickle so I can get myself some edamame, and then I will continue to monitor until we are able to get some soybeans as well. I have to go buy some summer crops, or sorry, we're in springtime, spring crops. At this point, do I even bother? I don't know, it's hard to say. I guess it depends on how lazy I'm feeling, honestly. I might just focus on the crops that take a really long time to grow rather than seasonal crops. I might just focus on putting wheat and buckwheat out into my fields, and then using the greenhouse once it's empty to sort of grow a little bit of each seasonal crop. But all of that entails taking more time and taking more effort, so I think it really just depends on the sort of mood that I'm in. I'm not quite to the point where I'm gonna just wake up, go to bed, wake up, go to bed, wake up, go to bed, and just not play at all. But I'm sure it'll get to a point where it'll be like, yeah, you know what, I'm just gonna go to bed for a couple days just to skip right on through. But like I said, even though this has been going on for far too long, I don't get as many opportunities to play this anymore. So by the time I play it from the last time I've played, it almost feels new and fresh because it's been a week or it's been 2 weeks or whatever the case may be. And so I have to actually take some time to get acclimated to what it is that I was doing in the first place. But I would like to get this finished. I would like to move on to new projects sometime in the near future. And I still can't believe people are watching this. It's pretty amazing, and I'm so thankful. So I want to thank everybody so much for that. It's been an amazing and wild ride, but it is time for it to end. If there is something that some of you can think of that you forgot to mention in terms of things that I should be showing or things that I should be talking about, then just please let me know and I'll try and include it. But for the most part, I'm going to try and just breeze through year 5 to the best of my ability, and hopefully we can get the remainder of this game finished up and bring it to its conclusion. So thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.